Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. This is Tracy Murda with the Future Tech Podcast. Today, I have an incredibly exciting guest here, Mark Thomas, co-founder and CEO of ZenSports. ZenSports is a peer-to-peer sports betting marketplace where anyone can create and accept sports bets with anyone else in the world without the need for a centralized bookmaker. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you making the time for us.
Thanks so much for having me. Glad to be here.
So, Mark, I would love to start off. I always like to know sort of what is your background in the blockchain, crypto world, and kind of what brought you into, the interest in the industry anyway, and then kind of let's talk about the background and history of ZenSports. What's the story?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been working in tech for about the last 10 years. My last company was actually a real estate technology startup, not blockchain or crypto related, but it was basically an automated tool that automated paperwork for buying and selling homes that we sold as a SaaS solution to real estate agents. We got acquired in 2015, and after hanging out there for a little over a year, decided about 2 years ago to start ZenSports. We originally started out as a meetup recreational sports app to meet up and play sports for money. And then we kind of, while it was pretty cool and we definitely had some people using it, I started to get into crypto very heavily about a year ago. Got actually pretty knee deep in trading cryptocurrencies, learning technical analysis, understanding how the markets were working. And that really, really got me intrigued to dive deeper, specifically within the blockchain space, and to really understand what the whole core concept behind blockchain really was, and understand how that really could change things. And that cryptocurrencies were really just a layer on top of blockchain. And so as I started to dive deeper into blockchain specifically, that was, I would say, January, February of this year, I really started to understand how this concept of decentralization could really weed out a lot of the unnecessary middlemen that are really pervasive in all of our daily lives, whether they be banks or professionals that really maybe don't add that much value, but that charge high fees. And then specifically started to really think about how decentralization pertained to our world and what we could be doing within the sports industry, and realize that bookmakers are like the ultimate unnecessary middleman or third party that really is just absolutely not needed whatsoever in the sports betting world at all. And so we kind of got to thinking this spring that, hey, we wanted to pivot from what we were doing anyways of being a recreational sports app and move into a bigger market and use cryptocurrencies and blockchain to create a better world within the sports industry. And we thought no better to do that than by creating a sports betting product and using blockchain and cryptocurrencies to weed out the middleman, to weed out the traditional bookmaker, and to create a fully decentralized peer-to-peer sports betting platform. And so that's what we set out to do this summer, and we launched that in September. We launched the non-cryptocurrency fiat version of our decentralized platform. And it's just this really awesome, amazing tool that allows different bettors that are interested in betting on different sporting events across the world to come together into our marketplace and to make and take bets freely without a middleman saying, hey, yes, you can do this, or you can do this, or no, you can't. And it really puts bettors in control of how they operate and the types of bets they want to offer and the terms and the odds and whatnot. And we can talk about this more, but I mean, it's a fully decentralized platform in the sense that we don't get involved in any bets at all. We don't even get involved in the results at all. And so just very excited that from, really a year ago of really not even knowing much about cryptocurrency and blockchain to really being able to learn about it very quickly, get up to speed very quickly, and apply it to an industry that we believe is really probably one of the best first use cases of blockchain technology, which is the betting world. Is really super exciting.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. Okay. First, gosh, I don't even know where I begin with this. All right. First, this is going to get, pretty technical, but how exactly are you using blockchain? Like, give me some real use case or a real example of how exactly the blockchain is being used in a bet I'm placing.
Absolutely. So when you create a bet, so you as the maker of a bet would come and say, hey, this is the bet that I want under these terms and these odds. What our platform is doing is helping match you up to takers or the other people that would accept that bet. Again, because we're not the bookmaker at all, so we're not accepting that bet. We're matching you up to someone else within the network who would. And then once that happens, then we lock both sides into a contract, into a smart contract to facilitate that bet. And so that neither side can back out of it or say, no, I changed my mind or anything like that. It's all locked in to that via smart contracts. And then same thing on all the terms and odds and everything. And then even when it comes to results, so this is, I think, what really separates us from any other kind of peer-to-peer platform, which is bets are all the results for all the bets are actually submitted by the bettors themselves. So we don't get involved and say, oh, yeah, you won or you lost or anything like that. The way it works is let's say you're the maker of a bet and you created the bet to begin with. You are actually the one who's responsible for submitting the results. And what our system does is we've built a token economy around this where we will set a small escrow fee aside that in case the results that you submit are incorrect, the taker, the other side of the bet, they can dispute those results. And we set aside a small escrow fee for them as well so that they don't just submit a dispute for every possible thing that comes along, even when there isn't one, even when there isn't something that they should be disputing. And then if there's that dispute that happens, we send that dispute to the marketplace, so all the other bettors to vote on. And those bettors will vote on what the actual outcome is. And they receive half of the losing side's escrow fee only if they vote along with the majority of the marketplace. And so they know that the majority of the marketplace is going to vote on the correct results. So they are incentivized to vote correctly on what the actual results were. And once that vote reaches the majority, then that is what locks in the results. And so the losing side of the dispute, they lose their entire escrow fee. So half of it goes to the voting marketplace and half of the escrow fee goes to the prevailing party in the dispute. And what this does is it creates basically a mechanism that highly discourages bad faith acting within the marketplace. So makers are very incentivized to submit correct results because they know they're going to pay a penalty beyond just their original bet amount. And takers are incentivized not to submit erroneous disputes because they know that they will also lose an amount beyond their bet amount. And what this does is, it prevents people from acting in bad faith. And up to this point, we haven't even had one dispute since we launched a few months ago. And it's really because that mechanism is in place to prevent that from happening. So that's a really good example of decentralizing, like even something that you would think that people would want to cheat on because there's money at stake. They say, right. No, I'm not going to cheat on it because I could lose more than what I've already staked. I could lose a penalty beyond that.
I love it. So it's like an honor system, but with the consequences and villagers out front with their pitchforks and fire.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do wrong.
Exactly. So.
Here. Oh, it's a sweet little honor system, but really, we're going to nail you if you really screw with this.
Right.
It.
Well, and it's cool because then we can't, because it's all decentralized, we can't get in the middle of it. So we can't play favorites or say, yeah, this should happen. And what's really quick little anecdote that's interesting. So while we're not doing fantasy bets or fantasy sports, we're doing traditional sports betting. A company called FanDuel, which you may or may not have heard of, but they do fantasy sports. They actually had an issue earlier this year where they were taking bets as a bookmaker themselves, and they made a mistake in the odds that they were giving somebody. The bettor ended up winning, and they refused to pay them out because of that, and it turned into a huge publicity nightmare. And they ended up paying them out eventually because of the PR nightmare, but they were not planning on doing it. And so that's just something that would never happen in our platform because it's fully decentralized.
I love that. So are there any competitors? Is there anyone that is comparable to ZenSports out there right now that's doing, even close to what you're doing?
Not really. I think the two things and I can talk a little bit more about the ancillary competitors, but I think the two things that really separate us out, actually the three things I should say, that really separate us out is that A, we're focused on traditional sports betting. B, we are doing it fully in a peer-to-peer way. And three, we're doing it in a fully decentralized way using blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So you have some other competitors out there that are doing little bits and pieces of those three things, but not all three things. And I think those three things are what's critical to going after the biggest market and ensuring that it's fully decentralized. So for example, you have a large incumbent called Betfair, which does a little bit of peer-to-peer betting, but they still act as a bookmaker in handling results. So like I just mentioned, that's not great. They definitely don't use any cryptocurrency or blockchain to streamline anything. And then if you look at an example like FanDuel, which I just gave, or DraftKings, they do peer-to-peer betting on the fantasy side, but they don't offer any traditional sports betting, which is a much, much bigger market and much more of what people bet on. And they also don't do any decentralized nature or blockchain at all. They are a traditional bookmaker in the sense that they will accept and take bets on their end. So yeah, there's nobody doing exactly what we're doing, which is going after the traditional bookmaking model, doing it in a peer-to-peer way, and decentralizing the blockchain, which is really the biggest market that's out there and what most people want anyway.
Okay, next question would be, what kind of blockchain knowledge, how savvy do I need to be to use and play with ZenSports?
Great question. So none. And that's actually the whole point. So we've taken the approach of building a real usable product first that people can actually just use like they would anything else. But we're doing the blockchain and the crypto stuff in the background so they don't have to worry about trying to, like you said, be a crypto nerd or blockchain nerd to understand it. So we have a downloadable app from the App Store and the Play Store, so for both iOS and Android, that you can download today, ZenSports, all one word. And it's, nice, clean interface, very simple to sign up. You can connect with your Facebook account, or you can connect with an email address. You can fund your account, and so forth. So we just actually created our own token last week, our own cryptocurrency token called Sport. So that's not yet integrated into the app. That's going to be coming in Q1. So as I mentioned, we launched the fiat version a few months ago. That's still what it is right now. So you do technically still have to use a credit card to fund your account right now. That will change where you can also use our own token starting sometime in Q1, which that's actually a really important point because a lot of like banks and credit card companies, they decline those types of transactions because they don't want to be funding betting accounts, or they limit severely the types of transactions. And there's all sorts of other issues that go in traditional fiat for funding betting accounts. And that's where our cryptocurrency token comes in and says, hey, you don't have to worry about that. You can bet to your heart's desire, put as much money in as you want, whatever it might be, and you don't have to worry about that. And it's fast and it's instant. There's no delays in payment or anything like that. So that's coming in Q1. But in the meantime, it's super easy to use and get started just like you would any other mobile app. And so we've really taken the time to focus on design, ease of use, making it simple, so it's no instructions required.
Okay, so let's walk through making a bet and creating a bet. Tell me
Sure.
Well, first of all, let me back that up. I'm going to walk that back. What kind of bets are we talking about here? Let's go through some examples. I mean, is it like the sky is the limit as a bet maker or bookmaker, however you call it? What kind of bets are people making?
Sure. So right now we currently offer about 8 different sports leagues and sports within our app. Now we will be drastically increasing that. We actually can increase that to over 130 sports and leagues worldwide. We just it just hasn't been done. It's on the roadmap to do in probably Q2. But in any case, so we offer the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, college basketball and football, PGA golf, and about 10 different soccer leagues worldwide that you can bet on. And it's really simple. So when you tap the Create Bet button within our app, you can choose which of those leagues you want to create a bet for. And then we automatically give you the schedule for all of those teams and players. Actually, let me take a step back. So you choose the league or sport first, then you choose whether you want to bet on a team or a player. So we have a list of all the players and teams, and then you just select which one you want. Then you can choose a game or a season bet, or if you want to do like multiple games or anything like that. And then within those, you can choose specific outcomes. For example, you could choose, is Aaron Rodgers going to throw 2 touchdown passes in the upcoming game? Or is LeBron James going to have 5 assists, next game? Or you could say, is Giannis Antetokounmpo going to win MVP this season? So you can do all sorts of different types of bets. While it's not free form typing in, because otherwise that would let people just kind of do whatever, and we don't want that either. That's not good, because we want to stick to sports and we want to stick to things that the recipients, the takers, will understand. So we do require a flow, but within that flow, we give you lots and lots of different options, pretty much everything that you would possibly want. And then what happens is and then you also set the bet amount. So you can say, hey, I want to bet $100 to win $500, or I want to bet $250 to win $50 net, like $250 plus my original bet plus another $50. So you can set whatever the terms and odds are that you want, and then that gets created in the marketplace, and then we will automatically match that up to takers that have similar interests and are interested in those types of bets. So that's really where our platform comes in. Is we're really a marketplace, like a matchmaking type of service, but it's all done automatically, so we don't have to get involved as a bookmaker in the middle of those bets at all.
So tell me what is coming up for you all in the coming year, since we are here now at the end of 2018. What's in store for 2019?
Right. So we are going to be, as I mentioned, integrating our cryptocurrency token into ZenSports. And we're going to be doing this in a way, like you brought up the question before, like how savvy do you have to be about cryptocurrencies or blockchain to use our app? We want to make it really drop dead simple. So we're going to take some real time to get that right. It's probably going to take a couple of months, 2 to 3 months. But we really want to make sure that we're able to, have it super drop dead simple and easy, because there's a lot of cryptocurrency token products right now that are not simple. And it's very difficult and frustrating. So that's a big, big thing, because that's going to streamline and possibly eventually eliminate the need for financial transactions using traditional banks and credit cards, which is very, very big within the sports betting space. I mentioned how we're going to be adding several more sports and leagues to our app. So we're probably going to 20x what we have right now. So that's going to be coming in Q2. And then, we're always constantly doing ongoing development. We actually release new features every week, every 1 to 2 weeks at most. And we even have a product updates page on our website that highlights all the new features that we've launched for that week. And so we're always doing ongoing development. So we don't like to think, okay, we're only going to do these big projects and then that's it. We are constantly testing, doing user testing, putting our product in front of our users and customers, and tweaking it to make sure that it's really just a perfect product. So I think after, say, Q2, there's going to be a lot of just ongoing polish items that we want to do, with regards to that. So I think that's really it, because we already have, to be frank, we have a very, very robust product as is. I think if I was to maybe go on a limb a little bit, we might get into eventually adding some esports and other types of things to our app as well. But we've got a pretty polished product now, and now it's just a matter of continuing to iterate on it based on what our customers want to see.
Mark, are there any min-max bets that can be placed, or are there any other restrictions that anyone should know about who is interested in getting involved with ZenSports?
Well, the minimum bet's only $1. So and actually, let me touch, and there's no maximum. Let me touch on that really quickly. I think one of the big things that's really important here to understand is, yes, we're going to get the traditional sports bettors that are professionals or semi-professionals that want to place bets. But I think the really cool thing about this is that since it's mobile, since it's easy to use, and since it's social, since we have a lot of social features within our app as well, we really envision a lot of people, I'm not sure what the percentage will be, but we think it's going to be a lot, that will be watching a game in their living room with their buddies, and they want to just bet with each other. And they just want a clean, easy way to do that without having to bring cash or Venmo or anything like that. Or they could be at a game themselves, like in the arena or at the stadium, and they're watching the game in real time, and so they want to bet with somebody, across the world who's betting. or who's watching the game on TV. But they don't want to bet a lot. They only want to bet 10 or 20 or 30 or $40. That kind of betting is just not easy to do with traditional bookmakers, even online ones. So keeping that minimum really low and keeping it social and mobile for us, I think, is really going to expand the market to folks that they're not looking to be serious sports bettors. They're just looking to be casual fans who want to add a little excitement to what they're watching.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that. That was actually my last question. I was wondering is, so what is it about ZenSports that is interesting to players? Is it just the decentralized, or now you're talking about too the more casual bettors? I mean, is that pretty much the crux of why people are going to want to flock to ZenSports?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things. So let me just touch on these. So the very first one that always blocks people from getting into sports betting, even casually, is funding a sports betting account with a traditional online bookmaker is a real pain. It can take several days, not just because the banks like to block those transactions like I talked about before, but traditional bookmakers want to approve your account, make sure that you're who you say you are. Like, there's all sorts of hurdles that they make you go through, and it's just not very user-friendly. And so funding an account can take a long time. And if you're sitting there watching a game, you just want to bet on that game right then and there, you can't do it. So because our product is mobile and because it's super, super easy to sign up and fund an account, that immediate hurdle right there is gone, which I think is a big, big deal. Then, of course, the fact that you have the ability to control your bets and you don't have to take just what the bookmaker is giving you puts you in control. That allows people to be creative. That gets them excited that, ooh, hey, I can bet that LeBron James is going to score 10 points this next quarter. I'm at the game. I'm watching him. He's on fire. He's going to score 20 points this quarter, type of thing. You just can't, again, you can't get that with traditional bookmakers because most of them don't have mobile products. So they're not mobile friendly. You can't do it on the go. You're not going to run back to your laptop to place a bet. And so by having it mobile, by making it easy to sign up, easy to fund your account, and then putting bettors in control of what they create, that is really important. And then again, the social aspects that I mentioned before are not trivial. So one of the reasons why Venmo is so popular is people love to share what they paid other people back for, and it's social. Well, this is the same concept. You can share the bets that you have. You can share the winnings that you have. You can instant message people. The traditional kind of way that sports betting is done online is like this lonely person sitting in a basement with 5 TV screens going on trying to place a bet. That's just not the way it should be, and that's not the way most people want to bet on sports. This makes it social. It makes it fun. It makes it feel like you're almost sitting, in a Las Vegas, casino or sports book with your friends having fun betting, except you're able to do it right from your phone anywhere that you are. So I think it's a combination of all of those factors that come together. And I think it's just, if I were to summarize it in one sentence, it's we make it easy and fun to place bets on sports. And so that's really what it's about.
This sounds like my husband's dream of a lifetime come true here. In Las Vegas in my living room. That is awesome, Mark.
We are taking steps to ensure responsible gambling too. So we don't, and I don't even consider sports betting to be gambling. I actually wrote a blog post about this a while ago. But we definitely are taking steps to ensure that there's responsible betting and whatnot. So we want people to have fun, but we want them to have it fun responsibly. But at the end of the day, people are adults, so they have to make their own choices. But
absolutely,
we do care about that.
Awesome.
You're like your husband. You're a responsible adult. You make your own choices.
Exactly. You pull from your own bank account. That's this weekend. No problem.
That
awesome, Mark.
Like
So, all right. So, give me the website again. What is the best way? I want to sign up for ZenSports and start today. Where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing is just to go to our website, which is ZenSports, all one word, with an S at the end, zensports.com. And from there, we have the clickable buttons to take you to either the App Store if you're an iOS user, iPhone user, or to the Play Store if you're an Android user. If you want to just go right into the App Store on your phone, you can do that too and download it. Again, ZenSports, all one word. Or if you, again, are on your Android, you can go right into the Play Store and download it. So you don't have to come to our website if you don't want. But if you want to come to our website, check us out, find out more about us, and then from there, click the link to download it, that's cool. Or you can just go right on your phone and download it from the App or Play Store.
Mark, thank you so much for your time today. This was really enjoyable, and I'm not usually a sports girl, and this is really enjoyable. So you guys have an awesome thing going here, and I am really looking forward to seeing what comes of everything here in 2019 as we're just on the cusp. So again, for our listeners, this was an awesome interview with Mark Thomas, the co-founder and CEO of ZenSports. Mark, any parting words for our listeners here as we part our ways here right before the holidays?
Yeah, I just think that, the landscape in the sports betting world is changing. The U.S. Supreme Court just recently told states that they can legalize it, something that the rest of the world has had for quite some time. And so it's interesting. I think we're kind of almost up to this point have been in the sports betting world like prohibition was in the early 20th century. And people realize it's not an evil thing, and it's a form of recreation and entertainment for people. And we're just really making that form of recreation and entertainment easily accessible to people so they can have fun. So just very excited how this ties into cryptocurrency and blockchain. And the last thing I'll say is I actually really believe that we can help bring blockchain to the masses and cryptocurrency to the masses by giving them a first real-world application for using it right from their phone. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And, yeah, I appreciate your time today, Tracy.
Very cool. Thanks again, Mark. Have a great rest of your day, and to our listeners, the same.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review, to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.